Chapter 101, a 102. At this time, the Grand Priest spoke. "Long time no see, Whis and Hakaishin from the 7th universe," the Grand Priest said with a warm smile, making him seem harmless. "Dai Shinkan? Why have I never heard of this name before? He looks very powerful," Goku said excitedly. "This world is really getting more and more exciting, with more and more powerful people constantly appearing." Beerus on the side was trembling with fright after hearing Goku's excited tone. These fools simply didn't understand the power of the Grand Priest. Like Zeno, he also had the ability to destroy a universe in an instant. "Dai Shinkan-sama, do you have any orders for coming to the 7th universe this time?" Wes raised his head and asked in a respectful tone. "Yes, I'm here to inform you about the exhibition match by order of Zeno-sama." The Grand Priest nodded, his tone and demeanor still very warm. "Exhibition match?" Beerus was confused. Wasn't it a tournament between all universes? How did it become an exhibition match? To put it simply, the rules for the tournament of power between all universes have not yet been formulated, and Zeno-sama wants to see the competition as soon as possible. So, we decided to hold an exhibition match first. Through this match, we can also formulate a format for the tournament among the entire multiverse, the Grand Priest explained. This time, there are a total of 2 universes participating in the exhibition match, the 9th universe and the 7th universe, which have the lowest comprehensive mortal levels. Before I came, Zeno-sama requested something. Among the participants from the 7th universe, Mr. Goten must be included, the Grand Priest said, looking at Goten. "Okay, Dai Shinkan-sama, we will participate," Beerus immediately replied respectfully. It seemed that Zeno had not forgotten Goten. Fortunately, Goten was respectful when he talked to Zeno, unlike Goku, who was more carefree. So there shouldn't be any trouble. "Well, I'll trouble everyone then. The exhibition competition will be held after 50 tax, which is 1 day in Earth's time. There will only be 3 contestants from each universe. Please come to Zeno-sama's temple half an hour in advance," the Grand Priest continued. "Okay, Dai Shinkan-sama." Beerus nodded respectfully again. Zeno's temple was his least favorite place to go. Every time he went, he felt it was very dangerous. If he said something wrong, he might be eliminated instantly. Going to Zeno's temple felt like walking through the gate of hell. But now, he dared not disobey the orders given by Zeno and the Grand Priest. "In that case, I will visit the other universes first and deliver the news to the Hakaishin in those universes. Farewell, everyone." After the Grand Priest finished speaking, he turned around and disappeared into the Void Rift. "Farewell, Dai Shinkan-sama." Beerus and Whis bowed their heads very respectfully. In a moment, the purple void cracks completely disappeared. After seeing the Grand Priest vanish entirely, Beerus stood up and wiped the sweat from his brow one last time. Every time he saw Zeno and the Grand Priest, he always felt terrified. He couldn't overcome this fear by himself. Perhaps this was the oppressive force from a higher being. Damn it. When did our 7th universe become the second to last in mortal comprehensive level? How did I never know about this? Beerus glanced at Whis and asked, "Ha ha 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 ha." "Actually, this is very normal, Beerus-sama. Besides eating and sleeping, you have never paid attention to the things in the universe. All the destruction you do is out of interest. You never observed the value and necessity of the planets you destroyed. There are many planets with relatively high mortal comprehensive standards that you have destroyed long ago, so we're now ranked second to last among the 12 universes. This is a normal outcome." Whis smiled and explained. He had also tried persuading Beerus before, advising that before exercising his right as Hakaishin, it was best to first observe whether the planet to be destroyed had value. But Beerus never paid attention to such things. If he was in a bad mood, he would destroy planets indiscriminately. This led to the unknowing destruction of many advanced civilization planets in the 7th universe. "Huh, I have never done such a thing, so stop accusing me," Beerus said roguishly to Whis. It must be you who secretly destroyed the high-level planets of the 7th universe while I was sleeping. Could you be a spy sent by another universe? Beerus knew very well that Whis was telling the truth. Beerus-sama, you have to touch your conscience when you say this, Whis replied, rolling his eyes. Isn't this guy too casual in throwing accusations? Heh, it's okay to be surpassed by other universes, but Champa's 6th universe and Quitella's 4th universe also surpassed our 7th universe, Beerus said, unconvinced. In the last match against the 6th universe, they won easily. Unexpectedly, in the comprehensive ranking of universes, they were behind the 6th universe. What's more, even Quitella's universe, that yellow-haired rat, was ranked higher than theirs. This was infuriating. Of course, Beerus-sama, if you have any objections, you can discuss them with Daishinkan-sama or Zeno-sama. Whis nodded, looking at Beerus seriously. After hearing these two names, Beerus shrank his neck in fright. He would not dare to do such a thing. Even if his universe was considered to be the last one, he wouldn't dare to go to them. At this time, the others began discussing. I really can't believe that our 7th universe is actually the second to last among the 12 universes, Krillin said. It seems that winning this time in the Tournament of Power won't be easy. They thought they were all powerful now, but in this vast universe, there was always someone stronger. Although they felt very powerful, who could guarantee that there were no real powerhouses in other universes? For example, in the 6th universe, Scion Kale and Assassin Hit had outrageous strength. In other universes, there might be even more powerful beings. Yes, it seems that winning the final victory in the Tournament of Power is indeed not as easy as we imagined. Trunks nodded seriously. Piccolo and Gohan's brows furrowed even deeper. They knew Trunks' strength surpassed theirs by a lot. If even Trunks and the others couldn't handle their opponents, then they definitely had no advantage at all. At this time, Beerus turned to look at Goten and spoke very seriously. Goten, you heard what Daishinkan-sama said. Zeno-sama specifically requested your presence at the exhibition match in Zeno-sama's temple. I think you understand how powerful Zeno-sama is, and you are smart enough to know what to say and what not to say, even without my reminder. I got it, Goten nodded. Even without Beerus's reminder, he knew what to do. The consequences of saying the wrong thing in front of Zeno and the Grand Priest were too severe to bear. Okay, the exhibition competition requires only 3 contestants. Let's discuss who else besides you should participate, Beerus continued. Since they were facing the 9th universe, which ranked last in overall strength, there shouldn't be any problems. With the strength of Goten and Trunks, they should be able to defeat the 9th universe. This exhibition match was nothing to worry about. The real concern was the Tournament of Power, where all universes would participate. He didn't know if there would be more powerful mortals. After all, they were ranked second to last now. Maybe the top 3 universes had fighters who surpassed the Hakaishin. Hearing what Beerus said, Goten looked at Goku and Krillin and asked, Who among you wants to go with me to meet the fighters of the 9th universe? But remember, once we're at Zeno-sama's temple, don't talk nonsense. Saying the wrong thing in front of Zeno-sama and Daishinkan-sama could lead to the destruction of our 7th universe. Goten was most worried about Goku. Others were fine. Although Vegeta was arrogant at times, he knew how to restrain himself. Goku, however, had a carefree character that was sometimes too much. His words were often too direct. In Dragon Ball, if it weren't for plot armor, he would have been wiped out by Zeno long ago. Humph! I won't go to that kind of place. Kakarot, you're not going either, Vegeta said proudly. The reason was simple. His recent match against Trunks showed him how far behind he was in strength. He needed to race against time to improve his own strength, at least not be weaker than Trunks. Otherwise, even if he participated in the Tournament of Power, he would likely be defeated quickly. Ah, why, Vegeta? I still want to meet other powerful contestants from the universe, Goku asked, puzzled. Didn't they train hard to see the strength of other universe powerhouses? Now was a great opportunity. and he didn't expect Vegeta to refuse. Che! Although I don't want to admit it, our strength simply cannot defeat Trunks. So even if you go, you may not be able to win the match. Let's use this time to train well here. Vegeta gritted his teeth and said to Goku. They couldn't even beat Trunks now, so participating in the power tournament wouldn't have much effect. The most important thing was to quickly improve their strength and strive for dazzling results in the All-Universe tournament. It seems reasonable, Goku agreed. Compared to Goten and Trunks, our current strength is indeed much weaker. I'll listen to you this time, Vegeta. We'll stay on Beerus-sama's planet and continue training. Gohan and Piccolo also chose to stay and continue training, especially Piccolo, who knew he was the weakest of the group. Young Trunks also decided not to go, as his strength was only slightly stronger than Piccolo's. Since this is the case, I will also stay here with Father and continue training, Gohan said. Me too, Piccolo added. Well, since that's the case, Trunks, Krillin, the three of us will go, Goten said to Trunks and Krillin. In terms of strength, Krillin was not weaker than Goku and Vegeta. It was more than enough to deal with the Ninth Universe. After all, the strongest fighters in the Ninth Universe were just the three Huskies who called themselves the Trio of Danger, and their strength was far from reaching the level of Super Saiyan God. Since it's decided, that's good. Everyone, let's take a good rest today. After arriving at Zeno-sama's temple tomorrow, the three of you must perform well. You must never lose to the Ninth Universe, Beerus instructed Goten and the others. Don't worry, we won't lose, Goten said confidently. With his current strength, even facing Jiren from the 11th universe, he was not afraid. He was 90% sure he could beat Jiren unless something unexpected happened. The day passed quickly. At 10 o'clock the next morning, everyone was ready. Shin and Kibito also rushed over. Okay, let's go now. Remember, as I reminded before, try to talk as little as possible after arriving at Zeno-sama's temple, Beerus warned everyone again. Sometimes even a wrong sentence could lead to the destruction of a universe. This was truly scary. Understood, Beerus-sama. Trunks and Krillin nodded immediately. Then please hold on to me. We will go there right away, Shin said. Everyone formed a circle, and in a flash, they disappeared from the Hakaishin realm. When they reappeared, they saw a large and gaudy word, Zeno. It was pitch black all around, looking like it was in a universe of nothingness. At the gate of the Zeno's temple, the Grand Priest stood waiting for them. With his hands behind his back, still wearing a harmless smile, the Grand Priest saw Goten and Beerus and smiled. Everyone is right on time. Come inside, Zeno-sama has been waiting for a long time. He turned and led the way. Is this the temple of Zeno? Krillin and Trunks thought to themselves. It really seemed to fit Zeno-sama's aesthetics. However, they dared not say such words directly. Beerus-sama had instructed them to speak as little as possible. It was best not to talk at all if they could help it. In the corridor, everyone walked for a full 3 minutes before finally arriving inside Zeno's temple. At this time, Zeno was bored, playing with marbles. The marbles he played with were actually planets. Whenever two marbles collided, it meant that two planets would disappear from existence. Zeno-sama, the 7th universe participants are here, the Grand Priest said respectfully to Zeno. Ah, Goten. It's great to see you again. Long time no see, I missed you so much, Zeno exclaimed. After Zeno turned his head, he directly ignored Beerus and Whis. Then he walked in front of Goten with a childlike innocent smile on his face. Ha ha, I missed Zeno-sama too. Goten could only smile awkwardly and respond. Of course, this was a completely perfunctory answer. He didn't want to interact with the little guy in front of him. He knew that every second he spent with Zeno was fraught with danger. But in this situation, what else could he say? The Grand Priest noticed the awkwardness on Goten's face. He smiled lightly, walked over to Whis and said, Your Goten from the 7th universe is quite interesting. I never thought Zeno-sama would like a mortal so much. Zeno hadn't been interested in a mortal for a long time. It seemed that Goten and Zeno got along quite well. Yes, Dai Shinken-sama. Goten's personality is very good, and he also has amazing fighting talent, Whis replied respectfully. Although the Grand Priest was his father, there was still a need to maintain decorum in such a solemn place as Zeno's temple. They couldn't act as father and son here? Well, I can see it. He does have very strong combat power. It seems that this combat power is not weaker than a Hakai Shin. Looking at your appearance, you should be training him as the next Hakai Shin. The Grand Priest continued with a laugh. As an existence at the ceiling level of combat power in this universe, he could naturally feel the difference in Goten. Although the guys he saw in the 7th universe yesterday were all extraordinary, among mortals, they should all be called the best. But compared to Goten, there was a huge gap. Yes, for now, Barris-sama and I do have such a plan. It's just that the future is a little hard to predict. Goten doesn't seem to have much interest in the position of Hakai Shin. Whis nodded and continued. Goten had the chance to become the 7th universe Hakai Shin last time, but he turned it down. Based on what he knew about Goten, he didn't seem to have much interest in the position of Hakai Shin. Maybe he had bigger ambitions. Given his fighting talent, if he had thousands of years of training, his strength could definitely surpass the level of an angel. At that time, the status of a mere Hakai Shin would indeed be unsatisfying for him. Oh, is that so? It sounds interesting and worth keeping an eye on, the Grand Priest said before walking aside. After Zeno and Goten had a brief chat, Hakai Shin, angels, and Kaioshin from other universes started arriving one after another. Although this time the exhibition match was only between the 9th universe and the 7th universe, the gods of other universes were also invited. All the rules and precautions for the Tournament of Power would be formulated today, so the gods from other universes were required to participate. Time passed minute by minute. 10 minutes later, all the gods of the universe had arrived. On the side of the 9th universe, besides the Hakai Shin, Kaioshin, and Angel, those 3 Huskies were indeed among them. They were the 3 most powerful beings in the 9th universe, so it was expected for them to participate in this exhibition match. Daishinkan, all the Hakai Shin have arrived. Let's start the game now. I can't wait, Zeno said impatiently, seeing that all the gods of the universe had arrived. Okay, that is the main purpose. The Grand Priest nodded. He shook his right hand, and the angel staff appeared. With a light tap on the ground, the huge temple of Zeno instantly transformed into a massive martial arts tournament venue. In the middle was a suspended ring, surrounded by 13 audience stands. Zeno and the Grand Priest stood at the easternmost position, while the gods of other universes appeared in their respective audience stands. A match between the 9th universe and the 7th universe? Let's see, Hakai Shin Belmod of the 11th universe whispered. Beerus's 7th universe has a low comprehensive level of mortals. Belmod, a diligent Hakai Shin, had a thorough understanding of these things. The 2 universes participating in the exhibition match were the ones with the weakest comprehensive mortal strength. My lord, don't be negligent. I feel that the mortals in the 7th universe seem quite good. They might not be that weak, Angel Margarita corrected. Although she couldn't accurately gauge the real power of the 7th universe contestants, she sensed they were not so simple. In contrast, the 3 warriors of the 9th universe didn't seem special. Oh, is that so? Belmod replied. Since you say that, it seems worth paying attention to. He quickly put away his contempt, knowing that Margarita's opinion was valuable. According to the Grand Priest, there would be a tournament of power involving all universes after this round. It was essential to take a good look at the competition's strength. Topo, take a good look at the 7th universe's mortal's power. It might be useful during the tournament of power, Belmod instructed Topo, who was wearing a black cloak beside him. Yes, Belmod-sama. Topo nodded quickly. All the Hakai Shin started whispering. I heard that Zeno-sama held this tournament of power because the 6th universe and the 7th universe had a private match. That's right. That's why. In that case, the two brothers Champa and Beerus are really troublemakers. Who's to say otherwise? That bastard Beerus almost got us killed in that hide-and-seek game with Zeno-sama millions of years ago. Soon, the blame was directed at the 6th and 7th universes. If it weren't for Beerus and Champa, Zeno-sama wouldn't have held such a sudden competition. They were more worried about severe punishment if they lost the game. Okay, everyone, please enjoy the whole exhibition. The rules of the match are simple. The 3 contestants from the 9th universe will fight against the 3 contestants from the 7th universe. The key to determining the outcome is to send your opponent out of the ring, the Grand Priest announced, and the whispers fell silent. Everyone turned their attention to the 7th and 9th universes. The Grand Priest didn't formulate detailed rules for the Tournament of Power, yet because he wanted to determine them based on this exhibition match. Too many rules now might affect his judgment and subsequent decisions. Now please send a participant from each side for the first match. The Grand Priest's voice sounded again. Sidra-sama, let me compete in this first match. Looking at those guys from the 7th universe, they seem to be nothing special. I will win the match right away. The youngest of the dangerous trio, Basil, volunteered confidently. He had observed the 3 contestants from the 7th universe and felt he could eliminate them easily. Okay, then you go, Hakashin Sidra nodded. Basil, don't be too careless. To be able to become a top participant in the universe and appear in a sacred place like Zeno's temple, their strength is absolutely not weak. Angel Mojito kindly reminded the pompous and confident Basil. After all, to participate in this competition, those 3 must be the most powerful mortals in their universe. If he were to be careless, there would be no good results. Yes, I see. Basil nodded quickly. Although he behaved politely, his expression was still arrogant. Whoosh! Basil's body flashed and appeared directly in the ring. On the side of the 7th universe, Beerus asked, You 3, who will get rid of that husky? Beerus-sama, Goten, let me do this first battle. That guy's strength is too weak. I can easily defeat him. Krillin stepped forward and spoke to Beerus and Goten. Okay, then you go, Krillin. Goten nodded immediately. The strength of the 3 brothers in the 9th universe was ridiculously weak. Regardless of the order in which they played, the final result would not change. Krillin appeared in the ring opposite Basil. Is the game about to start? I'm looking forward to it. Zeno looked excited. After waiting for so long, the match was finally about to start. Then, let the match begin, the Grand Priest's voice sounded. In the arena, Basil smirked and said to Krillin, Baldy, I didn't expect my opponent to be you. It really disappoints me. Next, I will eliminate you in an instant and show you the strength of our 9th universe. Krillin didn't reply. He knew there was no point in talking to this kind of opponent. Are you too scared to speak? Then let me finish this early. Seeing Krillin's silence, Basil became even more ecstatic. He jumped up, gathering energy at his toes, forming a light yellow glow, and kicked at Krillin. Basil's strongest attacks were with his legs and feet. Too slow! Krillin shook his head in disappointment. He jumped up, not giving Basil a chance to react, and punched Basil hard on the cheek. Boom! With a low crashing sound, Basil's body was blown out of the ring with a single punch. Zeno blinked his big eyes with a dazed expression. What's this? Is it over? The Hakkaishin of the other universes looked at each other in confusion. Could it be that the gap between mortal levels was actually so large? The battle had not even lasted a second, and it was over. Margarita, it seems that what you said was right. That bald guy from the 7th universe, his speed just now was ridiculously fast. There's no doubt that even Toppo's speed may not reach that level. It seems the 7th universe cannot be underestimated at all, Belmod said seriously. Oops! The gap between the contestants from the two universes seems too big, the Grand Priest said in surprise. The battle was resolved in an instant. TN. Oopsie! I misjudged the strength of teams in this exhibition match. Hopefully Zeno-sama doesn't spank me. Then, let's start the second match. The Grand Priest's voice rang out. Trunks' body flashed and appeared in the ring. His opponent was the poisonous Lavender from the 9th universe. Lavender was very weak, even weaker than Basil, but he was insidious and cunning, best at using poison to incapacitate his opponents. Trunks, being a decisive fighter, would never give his opponent any chance to attack. Especially against such a weak opponent, Trunks would never underestimate them. As soon as he transformed into Super Saiyan 4, Trunks defeated Lavender with one punch. This scene left all the Hakaishin dumbfounded. The power Trunks displayed felt stronger than some gods. Got to be kidding! The mortal from the 7th universe just now, at the moment when his form changed, his strength actually reached that level. It feels stronger than some gods. Are these guys really just mortals? Hellas, Hakaishin from Universe 2, said in disbelief. The bald man was strong enough, but the handsome boy, Trunks, was even stronger. The aura he released when defeating Lavender was incredibly powerful. He was definitely a top existence among mortals. In the 2nd universe, there had never been such a powerful mortal warrior. Hehehehehe. Bastard Beerus, when did you train such a powerful mortal? Did you know Zeno-sama would hold an all-universe tournament and started training mortal warriors in advance? Hakaishin Quitella of the 4th universe said angrily. Because he and Beerus had always been rivals, seeing the powerful mortals in Beerus's universe made him quite unhappy. At this moment, the Hakaishin of all universes were whispering, amazed at Trunks' power after transforming into Super Saiyan 4. In the stands of the 11th universe, Belmod finally showed a serious expression. Topo, feel it! That guy from the 7th universe released an extremely powerful ki just now. Although this power was definitely not comparable to Jiren's, it was still outrageous for a mortal to reach this level. He was definitely trained by an angel. Yes, Belmod-sama. That power was very strong. Ashamed to say, if I do not transform into Hakaishin form, I might not be his opponent, Topo said solemnly. It seemed the 7th universe was not as weak as they imagined. If Trunks was the second to fight, the one who didn't fight might be the strongest. The real strong always stayed until the end, just like Jiren from their 11th universe. TN. Hey guys, I might not be able to update a chapter tomorrow, so here's the additional one for the day. Enjoy,